Can you see by the dawn's let's say that kind of show. What? Good evening. Good evening. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. If you're not familiar with the Den is a show on the internet. It's been around for a long time, and I don't even know what we talk about here, right? Discussing everything normally, discussing everyday news, that's a good one. Discussing everyday news. I like that one. I might use that. But we don't even talk about news in here half the time. But discussing everyday nonsense, discussing everybody's nonsense. So that covers everything, right? The news, the tomfoolery, us, the Discord, all that good shit. Everybody's nonsense. Discussing everybody's nonsense. That's the Den Show. Anyway, I am your host of the Den Show, Ed Hom Show. And it is my honor, it is my privilege, but more than anything else, it is my pleasure to get to chop it up with you wonderful people. Every time we go live, it is a great feeling. It is the cap, not nightcap, but it's the cap of my evening before I go to bed to get to kick it with amazing, wonderful people like you, right? So thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. I appreciate you. Let's see what we got in here. We're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna try my best not to take all day talking about everything, and make sure the line is open, and give people a chance to speak. But what I want to start doing is I want to get back to how I kind of used to do in the Den is when I brought visuals, right? I didn't make PowerPoints, but I brought visuals, and I informed so that you could see exactly what I saw, and then you're able to make your own decision, because the thing about the Den is not everybody thinking the same. It's not about having this monolithic, just uniform, just this one hive mind, right? That's not what the fuck the Den is about. The Den is about people being who the fuck they are. You don't got to agree with me. You don't got to agree with me. You could be the asshole in the corner, right? You ain't got to agree with nobody in this motherfucker. You can come in here and just be, you know, a fucking contrarian if you want to be a weirdo like that, but you have the right to do so, right? You could be a person who agrees with everybody. You could be a fence rider. You could be anything you want to be in here. You could be a staunch. You can't. I don't know. I don't know about letting furries up in the Den, right? I got a question about that. But anyway, we're going to talk about the riots that took place in Philly very recently, and it's not even so much about the riots. We're going to talk about them and how stupid the shit is, because life comes at you fast, right? But we're going to talk about the impact that the riots, even though they were in Philly, we're going to talk about the impact that those riots are going to have on me, you, wherever you may be in America, and how these events that keep taking place, that keep happening, right? Um, how they impact us all, even though we look at them, oh, look at fucking Chicago, they're fucking pieces of shit over there. Hey, look at those assholes in LA. They're just going and they're stealing everything, right? It still impacts us, right? We're watching the shit, but it still impacts us. Like we're all victims in one way, form, or another. But let's see who we got joining us tonight. We're gonna get a Den folk roll call. I'm gonna figure that out. We're starting that thing, but I don't know how it works yet. But we're gonna make it shake. Spliggity bliggity, giggity giggity. But I got a few things to show y'all as well. So after we get the Den folk roll call in, I'm gonna start getting into the conversation about the Philly riots. And you may ask, why were the niggers rioting again, right? And you say, well, some of y'all can't say that. Well, you kind of can in the Den. Everybody say whatever you want to. But there was a gentleman who apparently, well, not apparently, got no more continues. He ran out of quarters, if you will, uh, through not necessarily a fault of his own. I don't know the whole history and background. I'm just telling you the base level stuff. People were upset because there was an officer of the law who off somebody, kind of sketchy fashion. I don't think I'm gonna show the video because it's YouTube. I'll show it in the Den later on in the Discord if y'all want to see it. I'll show it to y'all. But he got off basically. All the charges were dropped, thrown out. So it wasn't like he just got a slap on the wrist. It was just like thrown out. And so people went crazy. People started rioting. So that sets the tone for what we're going to talk about now. But like I said, let's do a Den folk roll call. See what we got in here. The lovely Miss D. Gamma. How are you doing this evening, ma'am? Good to see you. Miss Bell, the lovely Miss Bell Northern Style. if you're from Houston, I want you to take the time to stop and imagine, just imagine this image that I'm fixing to tell you. If you're from Houston, I want you to imagine Miss Bell doing the South Side. Keep that in your pocket. Broderick, the worst person in the den, Brooks. Oh, Broderick's not the worst. Right now, Broderick's the worst person. We've had worse people in, but right now, Broderick is definitely bottom feeding in the den. The lovely matriarch of the den, Miss K. Grace. Good to see you, ma'am. I hope that you are having a wonderful evening. Patricia K. How are you doing today? I hope all is well. Baker Man. Shout out to the Baker Man. Always good to see you. We have two Baker Men now. One Baker Man I know, one Baker Man I'm familiar with. Shout out to Ty and Craig. I don't think they're related. International Dre Day. Shout out to Dre. Good to see you, man. M5. Hey, bro, man, look. Whew. I heard that they were at Target. Man, look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you something really funny. I want you to keep the work boots. I want you to keep the work boots thing in mind. I'm gonna show you something that was extremely funny, right? And when you see it, you're gonna be like, man, what the hell? Oh, Heidi's here. Almost didn't see you, Heidi. Hello. So you thinking of Bob's Burger Chicken when you think of Bell hitting the sides? Terrible. Terrible. Linda? You thinking of Linda? Hey, Bobby. Anyway, let's get into it though. Let's talk about it, right? So, riots in Philly. You're like, what does it have to do with someone in Mexico, right? Well, nothing. But what does it have to do with me down in Texas? What does it have to do with somebody in Cali? What does it have to do with somebody in Illinois? What does it have to do with people in other states, other places, major cities, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you exactly what happens. What happens is closing. Stores start to close, right? You see the news, Target is closing 9 major stores, not for lack of money per se, but because the theft is so high. But if you look at where these places are, they're in, and I'm not trying to get political, we're just going to call it what it is. They're in very liberal locations, right? And where people are very easygoing on things like shoplifting. And the argument people try to use, well, they needed to eat and they did it. I could see if I saw a man stealing bread and cheese and lunch meat, to have some sandwiches to make it do, that would be a different thing, right? But when I see people, excuse me, when I see people stealing Gucci and Louis and all of this stuff, and we're let me just give you the story, right? Let me just let you see it because I want you to be informed. Because I'm gonna start going off here in just a second, but I want you guys to be informed. I don't want to I want to mislead you a little bit, like not too much, but just enough, right? Just enough, just I want to mislead you just a little bit, right? Not that much. What I do? Okay, something to look at. There we go. So I want to mislead you just a little bit. Do. But I'm gonna let you think for yourself. All right, let me see what we have here. I'll do that. No, might might have the wrong one though, right? Do do do. So shout out to all the lovely ladies of the den and these. Wait on these. Give me just a second. I don't know why it's not letting me pull the thing up. But like I said, I'm gonna show you some content. I'm gonna show you some things here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, bring it back. All right, there we go. Why are you saying that? Why this has nothing to do with Travis Kelsey? Anyway, let me let me zoom this up just a little. All right. So you know how this works. You know how this goes. Uh, Give me just a second. So again, I know people are like, well, Huncho, you're out there. You sound like you're supporting the system. You sound like a real company man right now. All right, and I can see what you're saying. All right. Yes, Hanso here with some news you can use. Don't get the blues unless you get the clues. Anyway, enough of the nonsense. So 52 people arrested in Philadelphia after looters target stores. Well, I fucked the title up. I was trying to paraphrase and then actually read the title at the same time. Whatever. Right. So this is actually from today. Dozens of people face criminal charges Wednesday after a night of social media fueled mayhem, in which groups, and this is a crazy story. This is like a real crazy thing, right? Which groups of thieves apparently working together smashed their way into several stores of Philadelphia, stuffing plastic bags with merchandise and fleeing, authorities say. So a lot of this stuff is organized. There is huge gangs of organized retail theft, which is like, I guess. I guess. I don't know. All the work you're doing just to get a fucking job. It's a lot of effort. You just got to sell the shit. You know what I mean? So it's about 7:30 p.m. after numerous 911 calls stated a large group, possibly as many as 100, moving through Center City. Again, this isn't just random stuff. These people who plot and plan on doing these things. Let me see if you guys can see this video without me blocking too much of it. I'll let y'all see some of it. Y'all don't get to see all of it. You know what I'm saying? This is a Foot Locker, right? This is a Foot Locker. So when that Foot Locker shut down, you can't get them hoes in your city anymore. You can't go out and shop anymore because of stuff like this. Companies are looking at this, especially in major cities, and they're like, when is this going to happen again? When does the next, and look at motherfuckers just casually walking out like, yeah, da, 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 da. But see, what's going to happen is some of these people are going to be made an example out of, right? I mean, if y'all got time to track down a bunch of people who just went for a visit in our nation's capital on a early January morning, you telling me that you can't locate some people actually doing something? Anyway. So again, like I said, a lot of looting, a lot of thievery, funny looking cop. But these are stores. Like, look at this shit, right? Look at this shit. Play the fucking video.
Well, we turn now to a developing story that we've been following very closely. Right now, Philadelphia police are searching for dozens of people who went on a destructive and expensive rampage last night.
Starting at around 8 last night, 100 young people or more went on a looting spree throughout the city of Philadelphia.
Cell phone video showing people running down Center City streets with armloads of merchandise from places like Lululemon, the Apple Store, and Foot Locker at last check. Police say they made roughly 20 arrests, but more are expected.
And the video that's been out there is just incredible to watch. The chaos not limited, though, to Walnut and Chestnut Streets. Looters also hit businesses in West Philadelphia and the Northeast.
That's where we find Action News reporter Corey Davis live in Ronhurst. Corey, from the video, it looks like these thefts were organized.
So,
yeah, good morning. So construction workers who are actually working out here renovating the Roosevelt Mall where we are right now say that the looters appear to have just grabbed whatever they could and made their way out.
All right. Anyway, so you see that. Looters, liquor stores. All liquor stores closed in Philadelphia after multiple liquor stores were looted overnight. Right? At least they're efficient. At least they're going after, I hope they stocked up, right? So they got winter's coming and hope they stocked up. Maybe they got it's going to be a party somewhere tonight. Like it's going to be a party somewhere tonight and it's going down. But I see all this. Let me kind of run through this, right? So I'm showing y'all all this. So loot and rioting. This was the funniest shit to me. There's an influencer named Meatball, and as you can see, the name is fitting to say the least, right? But this meatball character actually makes me really sad because it makes me want to dive into a deeper psychological issue with some black women. But I don't necessarily want to go there. I want to kind of focus on one thing. But the meatball character, even though is a dumbass, I really feel bad for this person more than anything, right? Because I'm trying to learn empathy. You got to learn. Some people just wasn't raised right, and some people ain't raised right, and they figure it out because they figure it out. Some people just don't have the capacity, the function, and ability. And I'm not making excuses for anybody. I mean, if a dog has rabies, you still put the motherfucker down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying, oh, he could be a good dog. Like, it's fucking, it is what it is. But some people just don't. So some people are beyond, reproach. Like some people you can't redeem. And I hate to say it, right? And I'm not saying this about meatball, but it got me thinking about this type of shit and the behavior of these people, especially these young people. And it's entrenched. They don't want to do anything. And it's a lot going on. But anyway, let me show you the meatball, right? Influencer meatball appears to be arrested while live streaming wild looting rampage in Philadelphia. I actually have some kind of videos of this meatball person, but this is kind of, I guess, a more convenient way to display it all, right? This is the meatball, right? And I'm gonna show you some videos of meatball in a minute. But this is meatball showing, I guess, at the stores and all the stuff going on, just having a good old time, right? I want y'all to think. Do you think that any of these people who participated in this activity will ever truly be a benefit to society? Right? Kids are not, right? Because these kids are not getting smarter. They're not getting more intelligent. They're not pursuing an education, even though the information to be great is everywhere around them. They complain more than ever. They want... They complain about the always, everything's not cool, but they want to be able to follow that same. Like, look, you got information that we were never given. You have a fucking founder. You have to take that and figure that shit out, right? But instead, they complain more than ever. Anyway, Meatball has a couple of videos. These are people getting arrested. There is a video of somebody getting a good shellacking somewhere. But yeah, right. These are all consequences. But anyway, I don't want to get into all this. I kind of do that. I'll save some of the extra video stuff for the Discord. But anyway, the meatball person was live recording, streaming, laughing, loving it, ends up getting arrested. Meatball is the woman, yes, the woman on the thumbnail of this video, right? So this person is the same person on the thumbnail. This person right here. I guess, right there, that's where you lost. You went and got you some liquor on camera like a dumbass because we have to live stream everything. We have to show everything, right? So they caught her. This the police right there. And they was in the car. They said they had nothing to do with it, even though you live stream, and then you got arrested. And then you over there getting your ass arrested, right? This is a video of somebody getting the shit shellacked out of. It was good. Again, like, I don't feel bad. But anyway, this is about the Target that I was saying about in East Harlem. This is about the Portland stores getting closed among the Target locations. And the rest of that stuff is, yeah, you don't even want to know. My goodness. No, it's just Twitter shit. So we ain't gonna dive into that. But let's get to the conversation, right? So I say all of this. I say all this shit to say, what the hell? What do I have? I could have just had one right there. Why did I just do it? Anyway, I say all this shit to say that it doesn't get better, right? Because most people peak at a certain age. And I believe personally, like most people peak at like 14 or 15. Like I think the majority of like society, that's about as bright, if you want to call it bright, excuse me, as most Americans are, right? And our 14 or 15, excuse me, gets worse with each generation because way back in the day, 14 or 15-year-old had a fucking career, like run a fucking household, right? Now, most of them can't write in cursive and they don't even read good. Anyway, so again, and if I missed, I don't know if I missed the lovely Miss Sarah Lee. I might have shout out Michelle. I'm pretty sure she's doing malicious white people, white woman stuff. Um, Definitely. But anyway, so again, so what I'm saying is just like this is no better for anybody because what's going to start happening is Targets like they're closing up. You're going to start seeing more stores closing up, and who hurts from this, right? The same people you swear that you're defending because they went through all the prejudice and stuff. Your grandma, the older folks who actually survived through more racial times, and they're actually way better people. So I don't understand how the further we get away from actual, real systemic racism or whatever you want to call it, how did the generation get worse and worse, but use that more and more as a crutch? Like, when you ask one of these kids these days about 9/11, right? And 9/11 was what 20, what was that 22 years ago, something like that, 2020. I don't know. I don't even remember. It's a long time ago. And they're like, they have no idea what that is. They have no idea what Bin Laden is. But somehow, some way, these young black children know any and everything that ever happened throughout American history that had to do with slavery and racial oppression. Somehow they know it all, right? You know what I'm saying? Somehow they know it all. And man, I apologize because I meant to get back. I got caught up towards the end. I meant to get back with you and let you know. And I'm just now realizing that shit. So my apologies, Mr. Manda. How are you doing this evening? But somehow they know everything and they're critical of everything. They can judge everything. They ain't been through shit in life, right? But getting back to the rioting, getting back to the looting. These people feel entitled because of that, right? Immediately after slavery, niggas worked harder, put in more work. They did the things that were necessary. But it's like the further we get away from it, the lazier and lazier and more entitled we become. The blueprint is there, but we just don't want to follow it. But I want y'all to think for a second, because this has my mind all over. I'm all over the place anyway, but I'm really all over the place right now. Do you know how easy it is to for these kids? And people have been doing it for years. Not the kids. It's probably older people who started it now. Remember when flash mobs were a thing? Y'all remember when flash mobs were a deal, and when they would just people would just show up at some random place out of nowhere, start dancing, and then run off. One, that's weird as fuck. Like, people do weird shit. Like I think I'm abnormal, right? Because I don't do what most people do. I just don't think I behave like most people. But then I look at what other people do, and maybe I'm not so abnormal. But what is normal? Anyway, we're way off the topic. But anyway, so if you can organize a flash mob of hundreds, if not thousands of people, right? And you're living in a society of people who are more degenerate minded than ever. Monkey see, monkey do. We've been rioting since, what was it, Michael Brown? And it seems like there's more scheduled riots now than I ever recall ever being in American, not gonna say American history. I mean, I'm almost 40, but in the earlier half, like post 30 for me, I'd say even maybe post 35, it seems like it's been just more riots, more shit happening, right? It's just like it was like Rodney King in the 90s, and I think niggas took a break for a while, right? But then it seemed like 20, I don't know, what, 2012, I don't even know when the Michael Brown shit happened. Like Trayvon, all this, like niggas just start riding. Like, we ain't got shit else to do but ride. Like, I'm trying to understand like why this became a thing. Like it has increased significantly. Like, let me know if I'm wrong. I know some of the people in here are older than me, right? And you tell me if I'm wrong. Has rioting just been this consistent? But anyway, I say that you can get a flash mob of 1,000 people to come dance. So you get 1,000 degenerate-minded people in some secret group tucked off in the corner of the internet somewhere, or tucked off in the corner of some app somewhere that you don't even know about, because nobody knows about it. And they say, hey, we're going to show up on Main Street at 8:30, and we're going to go fucking nuts. You loot at your own risk. Who's going to stop us? And what's going to happen? They're going to do it. They can do this shit in every city that they want. It could happen in every major city. You're talking about millions and millions of people. That's why I'm a big, adamant believer that people should not live in cities. People should not be stacked up on top of each other the way they are, because that's what festers these type of mentalities. People ain't got shit to do, so they get into, you know, degenerate behavior. Not degenerate behavior. We get into degenerate behavior. They get into degenerate behavior. But again, they're young. You say, well, Joe, you were a kid once, and I bet you weren't an angel. And no, the fuck I was not, right? And cool. That's on. But I've never been to a riot. I've probably been a part of a couple of brawls, but I wouldn't say I've ever been in a riot. Not willingly, not deliberately going to a location. I don't like thieves. I don't like stealers, right? I don't like stealers of things. I'm like, if you steal, like if you hang out with a person who steals, like I'm usually gonna steal from you. That's why, like, I don't understand niggas who be like fucking with jackers. Like you fuck with a guy, you, like I can't. I fuck with jackers, like, and I shouldn't be fucking with anybody doing anything like that. But even when I was younger, right? Like you fuck with a motherfucker who does nothing but rob and steal, and you don't think eventually this nigga ain't gonna rob and steal from you. And if you get down bad enough, like it's in his nature. But anyway, way off target. Way off target. Yeah, no pun intended. But anyway, we're all going to suffer because these stores are going to close down. So you can't go out and shop anymore. Now you're going to have to do all of your shopping from home. But this is what they want, right? Isn't this what they want? They want to keep you inside. They want to keep you unhealthy. They want to keep you unfit, and they want to buy all the land, right? They want to take over all of this, because the more dependent you are on others, right? The less independent you are, the less self-sufficient you are, right? The more control that they have over you. So this is all part of the plan. Some of these things, though, I think I want to say it was a Louis store in Cali. It was a stage situation where the owner actually set it up and got some kids or whoever to come run up in the store and do whatever, right? But again, why are we so willing? Why, especially black youth? Now you see, I didn't see it. I'm not even gonna lie. I saw a bunch of little niggas out there doing all this shit, right? Put themselves in a position where it could be, this could be something on your record permanently. Then you fall victim to the cycle. Well, I got a record, so I gotta be in the streets. I gotta do this dirt. And then you stay victim to the fucking cycle, right? Because you validate it to yourself when there's always an option, but you validate it yourself. Um, so again, I say all this to say that it's very sad. It's very unfortunate that this is happening, and it's not going to decrease anytime soon. So get used to ordering everything on Amazon, right? The retail workers are going to become delivery drivers, right? Because it's going to be a point where you cannot go to the store anymore. Then you're going to have increased thefts of people coming to try to steal shit off your porch. So then you better get strapped. You better be ready to blow a motherfucker off your front steps, right? Because people who have the mind of a thief will always be looking for opportunities to steal, right? That's just what they do. Okay, so electric car can't go far. I think I see Miss Mickey in here. If I overlooked you, if I didn't shout you out. In 12, how are you doing this evening? But again, so that's the problem, right? Like that's the thing. That's the thing. Think about that. I'm glad you mentioned Big Mama. Does anybody still do Sunday dinners? I think we kind of had. We talked about, you know, family meetings and things, but nobody does the Sunday dinners. Even like I know Soul Food was It's probably the most unhealthy movie ever made. But I mean, people don't do shit like that anymore. So I said, hey, the lovely Miss Sarah Lou. But you know, it's just it's very unfortunate that people don't do it as much. Okie dokie. So I've spilled my. Hey man, look, couple of things, real quick before we get into the line. Like while I'm opening the line up and all of this stuff. Tuby Tuesday was great. All right, Tuby Tuesday was cool. If you weren't there, then you just weren't there. You missed out now, and it was partially my fault for taking so long. I was trying to let y'all vote. I got to realize I can't let y'all have any input on anything. I just got to start picking shit, right? I just got to start just making my own decisions, and we just gonna have to rock with it. Because when I be trying to give y'all options, make sure y'all hit that like button as well, please. When I be giving y'all options, y'all don't be want to take the options. See, I be trying to make this a democracy, but y'all want a dictator. Y'all request a dictatorship. So if that's what y'all want, that's what I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give y'all a dictatorship. But Tuby Tuesday was very fun last night. If you missed it, it was pure comedy. Pure comedy. Like it was some funny shit. The Tuby is class. Like we're definitely gonna do it next week. This is gonna be a weekly thing. Tuby Tuesday is officially a thing. Like it's officially a thing. It was so great. Roger was trying to make it. We should do it every night. God damn, nigga, chill out. So yeah, let me open up the line. I'm done ready to take some calls. I want to know your thoughts, man. Do you feel? And let me not overlook it. So again, the reason why these people rioted, or the excuse that these people used to justify the rioting, was that there was a man who was killed by police. The police officer got off with no charges. This took place in Philly, and then all of a sudden, people start rioting. But it was just, to me, it's too well organized for that just to be like, people are angry. They're out and they act up. This was a premeditated thing. All right, cool. If you don't get charged, if you get a slap on the wrist, we're going to use that as an excuse. Like, you can do it now, right? Everything's validated. Everything's validated. So it is what it is. Let me see. You say, how's your day? Well, we're going to another segment. How's your day? Okay. My day was good, right? I'm feeling all right. Thank you for asking, Mr. Well. I greatly appreciate that. I truly do. Thank you for caring. Let me open up this line. Anybody can call tonight except for Shelly, right? Shelly had her feel, no pun intended, maybe pun intended last night. I don't know what the hell she was talking about last night, right? She was on everything I'm trying to say. I'm not even trying to be funny, but Shelly was definitely on one. She was on a big one last night because, she was talking ridiculous stuff. Ridiculousness. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. All right, give me just a second. Blickety and no. Alrighty. So let me put the number up here. We're talking riots. Like 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz. I'm gonna start a riot. That was. I don't know who I have had, because Trill brought up a good one. I don't know who I've had the tougher conversations with, if it's been Shelly or Miss Meat. But Miss Meat has reformed. So me and Miss Meat, while we don't see eye to eye on much, I think it's more than Shelly and I, because Shelly she's just awful. I got too many windows up. Where's the dang thing? Oh, I missed it. Okay, my apologies. I did just miss call. Let me put the number back up. I got too many windows up. Let me close some of these windows real quick. I'm done with all the stuff I showed y'all earlier, so I can close that. That's out of there, and there's no reason for this to be up. We can close that. Okay. All right. My apologies. Now I can operate in a decent way. And also, let me put the number up on the screen. The shit over with. You ain't put the damn number up. All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
What's going on, Hunter? Your boy, Man Up right here.
Mr. Man Up. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Man Up?
I cannot complain, man. I just wanted to come in, man, say a couple of things real quick because I watched a few of your shows from the other day. And I got to say this here. When you, you talked to Miss Bell and you kept talking, you said something to get people riled up. And I was thinking in my head, only people that should be riled up is ones that are new to the den that don't know Huncho that well. But all the ones that know you know that you just be instigating, starting shit. And I was just sitting there like, y'all motherfuckers are up here calling Huncho names and getting pissed off and ready to throw bricks at his face and all that stuff. Y'all should know Huncho's full of shit. I'm just sitting there, I'm listening, I say, Huncho is sitting here just talking shit. And then later on, he said, y'all just getting, what's the word you used? I forgot the word you used. God, it won't come to me.
Probably said riled up or fired up or something.
Something. Yeah, I forgot what you said. Yeah. I forgot the exact word you used, but still, I was just like, man, y'all should know this about Huncho by now. Come on now. Y'all know Huncho just be starting shit just to get y'all going, and y'all fell for it. I'm like, ain't that some shit?
Yeah, Miss Bell was mad at me that day. I remember that. She was getting mad at me. What? The man should be what?
Yeah, the woman should be at home while the man out there having affairs and all that stuff. I'm like, you know Huncho full of shit. You know that. That's why he's laughing now. And speaking of throwing a brick at your face, this is another thing I want to talk about because I know you did a show about the brick lady. And I know y'all know this, that she got caught lying and blah, blah, blah. One thing, I didn't even notice this. My wife is the one who pointed this out to me. She said, if she would have got hit with a brick, your face would have did more than swell up. You would have had scratches, your face would have been bleeding, all that stuff if you got hit with a brick. Just think about it. If you throw a rock at a car, and I'm not telling nobody to go do this now, but if you throw a rock at a car, you're going to see scratches, paint missing off of that, off the spot where the rock hit, stuff like that, right?
Yes, sir.
So imagine what it's going to do to your skin, which is real soft and delicate. So imagine what a brick going to do. I just had to throw it. I just had to throw that out there because my wife brought that up, and I was like, you know what? She's right. I didn't even think about that myself. She said, she ain't get hit with no damn brick. That woman just full of shit. I'm like, you know what? She's right. But yeah, I just had to throw that out there, bro.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think, you just see the big fat face, you really don't look at it. I was more concerned about the ridiculous shit she was saying than even really paying attention to her appearances. But that's a very valid point. So you have to go back and look at some things.
So, but yeah, I just had to call in and say, y'all know Huncho just be instigating, starting shit with y'all. Y'all fell for it. So I just had to say that, man. I just had to say that. Because I went back and I watched some of them while I was at work today, and I was just listening. I say, y'all know Huncho's over here just starting shit with y'all. Y'all just going off on it.
Well, that's what surprised me because I was laughing. I know I was smirking and cracking a smile, and
yes,
they were just getting mad. It was some statements in the chat. Somebody got mad and left, and I got called some names. I was like, goodness gracious! I thought y'all knew me better than that. See, shout out to Man Up. At least Man Up knew.
I knew it. Guess what? He started shit with me too. Come on, y'all. He started shit with everybody. Come on, if y'all not know this, But anyway, man, I ain't gonna hold the line too long, man. I ain't gonna do that. But as you notice, every time somebody do, I always put in the chat Bo Higgins' phone call. I want y'all to check. I want y'all to check that out. Or every time I do that, I say Bo Higgins' phone call. I want y'all to Google that and listen to it. The Hunter know what I'm talking about. That's why he laughing.
Exactly what you're talking about.
All right, man. I just wanted to call in and mess with you, man. I'll talk to you later.
That's bad, Mr.
All
Man.
right,
I appreciate you calling and getting the party started today.
all right, man. I'll talk to you.
Have a good evening. Shout out to Bad Man. Yeah, see, I forgot all about that. That was fun. That shit was funny to me because folks was getting mad at me. And I'm saying the most ridiculous stuff. Like, I'm not, my face wasn't even. I'm laughing and shit. And all the angry faces and people get pissed off. Hold on a second. I found that to be extremely. All right. That people's opinions of me changed that day over some jokes. Them was jokes. I was fooling y'all. But it's all right. It's all right. Nonetheless, I still love you all the same. My heart will go on. But yes. But yeah, we're talking about the riders. Like I say, they are. It's wild because things are not going to get better. They're not really going to get punished. If they do get punished, they're going to get a slap on the wrist. You saw the two kids who ran over the off-duty cop. They thought they was going to get a slap on the wrist. And the way things are going nowadays, that I'm not going to turn this into a woman bashing session today. I'm not going to do it. Right? I'm going to let the ladies make it. But society needs stricter standards, right? And it's just interesting that when certain groups of people get more power in society, things get significantly more lax, right? But what am I? What do I know? But it is what it is. These kids don't give a shit about anything. They don't expect any consequences. They idolize and worship celebrities. And they see the celebrities get no punishment, no treatment for their actions. Or they see people become famous for their. I guarantee this girl, the meatball, she's probably gained more subscribers from that because she has like a clothing line or something like that or something. So I guarantee I've seen somebody with a free shirt, free her shirt. Like motherfuckers are so opportunistic. I seen a motherfucker with a free meatball shirt, like a free something. It said free and it had her face on it. But it's like, bitch probably got in and got out. They probably rotating them motherfuckers. They probably ain't even arresting motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, now places are going to detain you, give you a ticket, and send you on about you. Like people are not getting arrested anymore, right? So what that means is you're going to have to start issuing out your own justice. And I'm not telling you to go out there and be a vigilante. I'm not telling you to do anything like that. I'm just telling you to protect you and yourself, protect your family, protect your loved ones. Because I'm telling you, the younger and younger this society gets, and I see why old people. I see why we always have this thing about the old white man, get off my lawn, right? I understand why he's like that, and it makes absolute sense why, right? Because you see the increase in degenerate behavior. You see, what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
Honcho,
Yes, ma'am.
father of the den, Daddy Honcho, you need not to be getting into that Discord and falling asleep. Because
What?
the other day I was laying down and everything was calm, and all of a sudden I heard the fighting that went on.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
It was comical. Yeah, I was laying down. They made me sit up. They did. It was too cute. Too cute. But the reason why these kids are so bad today, not just because there are more single parents. It's because a long time ago we had the teachers that helped us. We had the police officers that helped keep kids in line. The neighbors helped keep kids in line. You mean there were consequences for their actions. Today, all of that has been taken away. And I do understand, if they don't have a strict parent at home, but now they don't have anybody out there to keep them in line. Jussie Smollett isn't even in jail yet. So that they're letting people get away with things, and that's why they're doing it. And they're doing so many dumb things. It doesn't even make sense.
I mean, I don't think that is going to improve. I don't think it gets any better. And that's the big fear that I have, right? Because nobody's checking the behavior. So if nobody checks that behavior, you grow up believing that behavior is okay because nobody's telling you.
Exactly. And because also people have too many rights. If a teacher even raises their voice or reprimands a kid, that teacher is in trouble. They have to be careful. You mean, even like I said, when I was teaching, I stopped going in for that free training to restrain kids. Before we did it, we got extra PDP, professional development points, towards our certifications and things. But after a while, you go to restrain a kid, and you slip up and hit the kid wrong or anything, or the kid says anything, then all of a sudden the teacher or the administrator or the staff, they're in court. You mean they get kicked out of work until the investigation is complete? It was a whole mess. And so after a while, we started saying, I'm not going in to learn to restrain. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get that certification. You mean because I've worked too hard to get to where I'm at, and I'm not going to try to break up a fight and lose my job, especially after I put almost 30 years in. I'm not going to do that now, because I saw some educators lose their jobs. They're working at Home Depot and things like that. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It really is. Oh, yes, my name is Miss K. Garcia, so I would like for everyone to address me as such. Heidi gave me my new name, because you know what I learned about this den?
Yes, ma'am. What's that?
I like the Mexicans.
The Mexicans are great people. The Mexican people are great people. They're my favorite people.
We didn't have Mexicans. I told you there was one Mexican family in our city. That was it. Now we have all these people coming in, but they're not really Mexicans. They're Central Americans, they're South Americans. So the other day when I went to what they have labeled as a Mexican restaurant, I got a breakfast. I was all proud. I put it in the Discord, Wokey Woke Illusion. Yeah. He said, what was that red sauce on there? I'm thinking to myself, isn't he Mexican? He should have known. But I get that those people are from El Salvador, but they label everything around here, not to alarm people, as Mexican when they're not all Mexican. In fact, there's hardly any Mexican.
Yeah. They're all Mexican. Regardless of what they tell you, they're all Mexican. It's okay.
Yeah, well, they're slightly different. The people from Honduras and, El Salvador and even Venezuela, they're all Spanish-speaking people. But, there's things that are slightly different. Like I said, I noticed, like, my neighbor from Honduras, her food was different than, than the Mexican from Mexico people's food. You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah, there was some slight differences, but I don't know the difference. But, yes, so I am Miss K. Garcia.
Miss K. Garcia.
Miss K. Garcia.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, too, because, you call a Honduran or Mexican, you might end up with a knife between your ribs. You got to be real careful. They get real upset about that. Right? I had
exactly.
A supervisor one time. She was Honduran. I called her Mexican. I almost lost my damn job and got beat up. It was crazy.
Same thing with the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans.
Oh, man, that's a whole other
What? Thing. You better not ever mix those two up. They have a fit. They'll stab you. If they're Puerto Rican, don't you call them a Dominican? I know Dominican. Yeah, they become real indignant, But, but I enjoyed your call yesterday with Shelly. And I enjoyed my Lady Licious. I'm glad she gathered you up. I don't know, Hancho. These ladies have been getting you good. And I
think
understood what she
okay.
was trying to say. The same debate that you and Lady Licious were having was pretty much the same debate that Professor Trill and I have had, where both of you say that men can't get sex as easily as a woman. And so I do. When I listen, I said, okay, I understand what he's saying. But if that's true, that guys can't get sex as easily as a woman, but yet they get more of it, that means those bastards worked overtime and took time and energy and precious everything from every place else to do so. If it's easier for women to get it, we should be the ones having a whole lot more and cheating and running around and doing all that foolishness.
Oh,
The
but they
mere
are
fact
now.
that men have more bodies, what do you call it, body count? Yeah, men have much more of that. Men do all that cheating, all that foolishness, and they shouldn't be able to if they're not able to get it as easily, but they still do.
Well, they just pay for it. I mean, that's why they have to pay for. Women don't have to pay for sex.
No, they're not paying.
They're paying
What do you
for it.
mean, money?
There, one way or another, a man has to pay for sex. It's transactional in some point. Even if he doesn't give her the money directly, if he's taking her out to eat, if he's taking time out of his character to be extra nice, because a lot of this dating and a lot of this stuff is a lot of manipulation on both sides, right? People aren't really
Right,
honest. If people were honest and said, "Hey, I want to fuck you," and if women were honest, but I know there's a stigma side, and there's two things with women. It's the stigma that society puts on women, and then two, there's a level of danger. If a woman came out and said, "Hey, I like to fuck just as much as men," she would get inundated with uh, gentlemen callers, we'll call them, trying to get at her because men are extremely thirsty. Men are actually, if they think they have a slight chance, they will pursue for months and months and months, if not years on end, right? So I can understand why a woman can't be forward with that. But I do believe women are just as sexual, if not more sexual than men. I actually believe they are. I think there's more sexy reds of the world deep down inside some of these women. They just don't want to let it out, or they know the consequences that come with it than there are with men. Women are having more sex. They're just not going to say they are. The average man is not having a lot of partners. We look at the top, the upper echelon, the athletes, the rich guys, the very attractive men, things like that. Yeah, they're bagging and tagging, but that's only a small percentage of men. Overall, guys, some dudes might get lucky to get two or three. And right now, they said even the young men are. They're talking about there's more 30-year-old versions now than in history or something like that, that men are waiting later and later. But women are not. Women are having sex at an earlier age. Men are having less sex and at a later age. So I think things have significantly changed, especially since the women's sexual liberation and all that stuff is okay. I think things have
I
swung
would
a
have
little
to see that because I think guys are pigs.
bit. I agree. I would
Wait,
agree,
wait,
but
and even when I referred to men as sluts, Professor Cho said, Miss Grace, you can't call men sluts. Yes, I can. So, sluts. You know what I mean? And the thing of it is that they will sneak and do it. I've seen girls with boogers coming out their noses and they're pregnant. You mean guys that you wouldn't even think would be laying and having sex with those broads. When nobody's looking, you mean they will do it. A whole lot of them will do it. They're nasty like that. See, we might pick up a guy that has a little less money and things like that there, but he better not have no snot coming down his nose. A nigga will let a broad suck his dick with snot coming out her nose.
that's just extra lubrication.
You shut up.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just it gets the viscosity going. Um,
It's
but yeah, but
ridiculous.
you are absolutely right. I mean, but you are right. But again, it's different though, right? It's different because men have to do the work. Men have to be the performers. Men have to make men determine if the sex is good, right? Because if the sex is good for the woman, then generally it's good for the man as well because he's
Right,
enjoying himself. But if it's only good for the man, then woman's going to complain, et cetera, et cetera. So the man determines
right,
whether or not it's going to be good for both of them. So
right,
if he don't necessarily want to put in the same effort, he's just trying to get his rocks off, then he's not necessarily caring how he's getting them off because he has to do the work. So if old Booger Nose is available and willing, and I don't have to and I'm speaking in general, don't have to do shit but buy a fucking, cheeseburger or some shit versus this chick over here want to go on 3 days to steak 48, then want to wait 90 days, and then, want to do all this extra stuff. Look, I'm trying to get the nut right now. I'm not trying to put the nut on layaway. So I'm going to go holler at Booger Nose, bring the cheeseburger, do what I do, and sneak out the back door and hope nobody sees me.
Right.
That's just how men do behave. I can't doubt
Yeah.
that, but I think that women still have better, because even Booger Nose can get a better man. A lot of men who are the Booger Nose version of men cannot get a better woman.
Right, but the men will take even the nasty woman. You mean, and let me tell you another thing is, women, and not all women, I don't want to, you know what I mean, but women that are like overweight, when I was coming up, if they were overweight or they weren't as attractive, those broads would do anything. And guys would tell you, they were like the easiest ones. It wasn't even the nice-looking girls. The heavy-set women or the women that weren't that attractive would do anything. And not all of them, but a whole lot of them. Even because they didn't get the regular attention that they wanted, and that was their way of getting it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And when we sat around and we talked and had those unattractive women or the heavy-set women, you mean in our company, and we women were discussing things, or we young girls or whatever, I mean, it was shocking, you mean, what those girls would do. You mean, they were quite easy, you mean, because that was their attention, sad as it was.
They definitely
But I'm not gonna, you have any questions for me about these riots or anything?
When you see stuff like this, are you even still surprised? I mean, how long do you think before all these retail stores end up closing down?
You know what? I told people years back, I said there's going to come a time that in certain communities we're not going to have teachers, we're not going to have law enforcers, we're not going to have politicians. They're going to be gone, and we're the ones complaining the most, and it's happening. Even my certification is only good for another year. They're willing to take me back and pay me full time again, because they need educators. They're doing anything to put anybody on the police force. We're not going to have people in the military. It's all happening. So it's kind of disgusting, but I want to say this. All you Biden supporters, all you Democrats, thank you so much for this bullshit. Because he is letting it happen. They are letting it happen. And there's a reason why they're letting all this crap happen. It's the oldest tricks in the book. Let these people, give them 15 lashes with a wet noodle when they commit a little crime, no bail, let them out, so that they can destroy each other. We don't have to do it. That's what the KKK and those people are saying. They don't have to do it. Let these people go to the abortion clinics and kill all of their babies. We don't have to destroy them. They're destroying themselves. Let these people get out there. We'll put some Black Lives Matter and those people out there to riot when a black man gets killed by the police. A career criminal. Most of them were. That way, everybody be running around with their pictures on a T-shirt, and those young black boys are going to think that those are the heroes, and they'll sit there and feel disgusted about somebody like, what's his name, the surgeon there that was under Trump.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. Yeah. How in the hell that we have people, our people, that we look at somebody like Ben Carson as a piece of crap, and we look at George Floyd as a hero? That's the oldest trick in the book. You teach your opponents and the ops to do the opposite of what you want. You teach them to destroy themselves, and you just sit back and watch. That's what's happening, and it's unbelievable that our people are just sitting back, and it's like, how can you not see this? Once you can't unsee it. Anybody that's good and wonderful and well-spoken, you may calling them names. They're white supremacists, and they're black, which is silly. That is the silliest thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? They're not black enough. In order to be black enough, you have to be a criminal. And those politicians, come on, were they not setting up bail when they were rioting and killing things and killed that black cop, that old man, that retired cop and things. You mean when they did that, they set up bail to get them back out of jail so they can destroy and kill some more? Let them riot in their neighborhoods and destroy their stores and all those other things. You mean, let them. Let the fentanyl come in and let it go right there. Let them destroy each other, and we'll sit back. And it's happening.
Yeah,
And our people are still, but I'll still vote for Joe Biden. You know, there should be no discussion. Look how they've normalized this discussion about these people coming into the United States by way of the southern border mostly. You know, they're coming from over 160 different countries. Why are they coming in? And instead of them saying, send them back, they're like, let them in. We need some more money. Okay, we got to take the elderly home for them. We got to put them in the schools. We got to put them in the police station. We got to let them sleep at the airport. We need this. There should be no discussion like that. You came in here illegally. You a big military plane. Pack them up. Send them back. Come in the right way. But they're letting them in because that's their new voter base. And those are those workers. They're the workers. I heard that the Venezuelans, they're building their asses off. They're building everything. And they're going to have them doing that here in my city. I don't know if I told you, it's the Portuguese. They build all the homes and houses. They can take a 3-tenement, because you know how we have a lot of tenements here, a 3-tenement, and on the first floor have an upscale restaurant with white tablecloth, and their grandmother lives on the second floor and somebody lives on the third. And they all have their fishing boats. They do it. So this is their new base, and that's why he's ignoring it. And everybody's ignoring it. Well, not everybody, but the ones that should be fighting, they're fighting, but other people should be fighting as well. And they're sitting back and letting it happen until it hits them, until it's in their backyard. And that's why I had beef with some of the white liberals that I worked with. You know what I mean? Oh, let's let them in. Let's let them all in. Let's let them in. You mean, I said, why don't you? I said, they're coming into my community where resources are already scarce. Why don't we bring them put in Little Compton, in Dartmouth, and Westport? You people live. They don't want them there. Our schools are being destroyed. I mean, I can go on and on, but you've heard all this, and I'm not telling you all anything that you already don't know, because the Den has, for the most part, very intelligent people.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, and that's why I like listening and talking and the perspectives and real thinkers the Den has, because living in this loony liberal Democrat Massachusetts, it's miserable because I can't have conversations. I mean, nice people, even my family, but I can't have conversations because they all think alike, they move alike. It's almost like they're Stepford people. You know, even when I worked for the school department, everything they complained about, yeah, the class sizes are getting too big and the school's getting too big, it would all be complaining, okay, now when we have the meeting, we're going to let them know and sit down there and say, yeah, I'd raise my hand, and blah, blah, blah. And you look at them and they're like, oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, wow.
And they'll go for what they complained about. They'll go for it because they always want to look virtuous, like they're team players all the time. I'm not always a team player.
But yeah, people will vote against their own best interests, knowing that that's not what they want, but they don't want. People are so afraid of conflict nowadays. People are so afraid. And it's
Right.
not even conflict. It's just they don't want to be seen as disagreeable. And that's why so
Right.
many people, blindly did a lot of things that we saw a couple of years ago, because people don't want to think. They just want to do what everybody else is doing. But
Right.
you know,
And it looks, I'm a good person. I get along with everyone. Cupcakes for everyone. Yeah, I wasn't like that, and I'm still not like that. You know, but nope, it's ridiculous. You know, and now they're calling these neighborhoods with no supermarkets in them that have closed down or moved out or whatever, they're calling them food deserts. That's pretty sad and scary. Food deserts. The drugstores are leaving, so people can't even go get their medication and things. That's scary. You know, I'm looking at America, and it's looking more and more like a third world country. And you know, Hunter, you know I'm the travel queen over 20 different countries everywhere I go. You mean, and they're jealous of us. They'll treat you nicely because you have money to spend, but after a while, we're nothing to them. And they just want what we have, and now they're coming in and they're getting it. And the people that are going to be hurt the most, black people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're right at the bottom. We were at 13%. I think we're going lower than that.
Oh, yeah,
And they were like 20%, yet they're moving. Yet you think they're going to vote for our interests? Absolutely not. They're going to vote for their interests, not ours. We had civil rights and we were marching in the streets and stuff. So all the people of color. People don't realize when they say people, first of all, they didn't, when I was coming up, we were called colored people. Then after a while, don't call us colored. What color are we? Purple? Now they change it to people of color. What the hell's the difference? Because people of color today is everybody that's not that white Anglo-Saxon, almost blonde hair and blue eyes. Those are the only ones that aren't people of color. The people of color, you mean, are the Italians, are the Portuguese, are the Spanish, are the black. So black people say, oh, yeah, they're going to give money to the people of color. Well, when they start divvying out things, you're just going to get a little tiny bit because all of those are going to take the rest. And that's what's happening in our classrooms and our schools. You know what I mean? These kids that are coming in that don't speak English and things, they're getting everything. And our resources, most of our resources are going to them, and our kids in public schools are getting the scraps. You know what I mean? And part of the mothers are partially at fault of that because I told you before, these mothers would rather hear that their kid has a fake A than a real C. My kid has an A. Oh, yeah, he's doing well. He's an A student. Kid ain't never done homework, never did a project, never did a book report, never did any research, never did any of those things, never studied for a test. If you ain't seen your kid doing all of those things and your kid has an A, it's not a true A. I would rather my kid have a strong C than a weak A. So the mothers are to blame also, or the parents. Because they just, yeah, so. Okay, let me get off of here, to give somebody else a chance to call.
Well, I enjoy talking to you as always, Miss Grace. And I mean, I see it around here. You're absolutely right. But again, it's not with, with black folks, especially with us. It's unfortunate. We don't start acting until it's way too late, And
Yeah.
I mean, all the signs are there. But, again, we're on the bottom of the totem pole, like you said. So we're going to be the ones that suffer, and we're not doing anything about it. So, I mean, it's inevitable.
Right.
That's going to happen.
We're getting worse. I've seen people, that are older, even my age, and people are working harder, working 2 and 3 jobs or more hours just to keep their head above water. I've never seen people having to work so hard, not even for anything extra, not even to take a vacation or to buy a new car, just working extra just to keep their head above water. One more thing I was going to say to you, because something popped up when I was watching TV earlier, because I only watch TV a couple of times a week. And somebody brought it up in the den before, or in the Discord. I think it was one of the either Wokey Woke or Big M. Talked about Big M. It was Mena. Was it Erica Mena? Which is like a Spanish girl, and she got into an argument with a girl from Jamaica, I guess on Love and Hip Hop or something. And the girl from Jamaica's name is Spice. Dark girl. I always thought she was very beautiful. She's built like a gorilla. She don't look like a gorilla in the face. I thought she was beautiful. She was blue everything on her hair. You know what I mean? And it goes nicely with her skin. Well, anyway, she said to Erica Mena, your son, Erica's son, a teenage son, doesn't even like you. And Erica went nuts, lifted the table, and called Spice a blue monkey. Oh, my God. Everybody's going to fit. But nobody's thinking about Erica's son. A mother can be a low-down, dirty, nasty, crackhead hoe. And her kids can be in foster care system. And guess what? Those children will still love their mother, still have dreams of getting with their mother. So by Spice even bringing up that teenage boy, they kind of put that on him. So he doesn't like that his mother lost the job. She lost movie deals that she was doing with Tuby or whatever. And so everybody's mad at Erica. Yeah, because they said monkey a long time ago. We're called monkeys. I said, aren't we supposed to be strong people? Black people always saying, oh, we're so strong. Black girl magic. I'm black and I'm proud. We're people. Somebody calls you a name like a monkey and you're all going to fall apart. Give a damn what anybody calls me. It's what I answer to that counts. And so now now I'm watching the triflingness of the girl from Jamaica, where she's actually happy that Erica's losing everything and her jobs and everything. I am not into destroying people's lives. It's a word. It's a name. You can call me a monkey. And the funny thing is, Erica Mena looks like a white monkey with her light skin. There are white people that look like monkeys. I've seen them. Alejandro, have you ever seen white people that look like monkeys?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of calling me a blue monkey or black monkey, so you look like a white monkey. That's all to it. But yeah, no, we gotta destroy. People are just so into destroying people's lives. You gotta do something really, really bad. You mean for me to be gloating? I can't even imagine. I killed my kids or my mother or somebody like that there. But yeah, to destroy a life, especially when someone has children and things like that, because of a word when you had no business bringing up that woman's child. You know that we do not. It's a cardinal rule. You do not bring up children. You don't bring up mothers, especially if she's dead. In the black community, is that not a rule, Honcho?
Yeah.
It's our rule.
Don't talk about mama. It's going down.
Exactly. If you're truly black, you know that rule. We stop short of that. We can sit there, and if we're playing the dozens as kids, like, your mama's so fat that this, or your mama's so ugly she this. We play those things, but just playing. But seriously, to talk about someone's kids or to talk about the mothers especially if she's dead, it's like you're supposed to get shot in the face for that. That's off limits. We don't do that. We don't do that, and it's understood. It's understood. If somebody does something like that and they get hurt, we just say, "Oh well." We know that's the cardinal rule. You don't do it. And this spice, she should have known better to bring up that woman's child. I'm sure that young boy is living with some guilt right now. What might that do to him? I hope he doesn't want to commit suicide or anything like that. Like, look, my mother's suffering because somebody got on national television and said that I didn't like her. I mean, I think he's going to bear some responsibility. He's going to feel bad. Yeah. Because we still love our mothers, no matter what. No matter what. But I've been on here long enough. Oh, God, I've been on here as long as Kenneth. Who else stays on long? Rashida used to.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm going to get off of here, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Well, Miss Grace, I definitely did enjoy talking to you. And
Okay.
it's always good to hear from you, man.
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
Good night, Miss Grace. She's absolutely right. Absolutely right about these things. You know what I mean? And it's not even to make it a racial issue, because we all call it racial things. But it kills me because it's black folks who celebrate a lot of this shit that's going on, and they're going to be the first ones to go under, right? So it is interesting. I find it very funny, but here we are. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
What's going on, my bro? Honcho. This is Ken.
Mr. Ken. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Ken?
I'm doing good. Ate a late dinner. Yeah.
What did you have for
How are
dinner?
you? Just some leftovers I made last night. Some fresh string beans and Spanish rice with beans, peas, and corn, and what's the chicken called? Jerk chicken.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Mr. Ken. No complaints. Can't say that I have any complaints other than
How was your day?
people around. I would say it was a good day. Not nothing to complain about either way. So yeah, good. I'm alive at the end of the day so far. So I would say it was good. How about yourself?
It was good. Just been busy working. I'm tired. My back hurts. So, yeah. But overall, it was good. No really big complaints. But I do want to respond to a couple of people real quick, if that's so cool. That's cool.
Okay, that'll be more than fine, Mr. King. Who would you like to respond to?
The first two callers. There was a guy and then Miss Grace after. Okay, with the brick gate. When the lady came out and said, the brick gate, then the collection of Black men online began digging into her past to find something to invalidate her experience. The skits was brought up. People were saying, oh, they hit her because she was slapping people, when it was obviously a skit. The video that it was posted on, she said it was a skit. But with Black people, because Black people aren't going to read or Black people aren't going to do their research to find something as a fact or false before they act on said information, it just spread like wildfires. And you had people online, the YouTubers everywhere, and stating that it was fake or she deserved it because X, Y, and Z. And it's become a continuous thing where when a Black woman is assaulted or physically harmed by a Black man, even by a white man, when a Black woman is physically harmed, Black men go out their way to find ways to discredit her. I mean, we've seen this happen. It's happening more and more with, even with, you go to the Megan Thee Stallion, whether people believe it or not, the fact of the matter is that he went to jail for illegally carrying an illegal weapon, for being a foreigner on probation. So him going to jail really didn't have anything to do with her per se, because when she didn't press charges, you know what I'm saying? And it's a consistent thing, and it just irks my nerves when I hear Black people, both Black men and Black women, just falling for the bait without even reading. And the brick gate, which I said it the other day that it was true, but obviously people aren't going to go read. But NBC News ended up doing a piece on this because there was so much a noise from Black men stating that it was fake. They ended up doing a piece on this, and this is on NBCnews.com. And they did a piece on this 2.5 weeks after the event happened. The event happened on September the 2nd or 3rd. NBC did their piece, I believe, on September the 18th, 19th. So they had time to dig to find facts. And they did find the police report was made on September the 3rd. And you had niggas on YouTube talking about she didn't even file a police report, when the fact is that the police report was filed on the 3rd, the day of or the day after it happened. They looked at the medical records, and it does show that she went to the hospital. It does show that the call said she wasn't bleeding or anything. It does say that she was bleeding profusely out the ear and that she had scratches and bruises on the side of her face. So But even when you present these facts, niggas are still going to say it was fake. And that's my issue with niggas. That you could present facts and they'll still say it's a lie.
I mean, I can understand that. But would you agree that, makeup artists are really good these days? I mean, she could have, maybe just tweaked it a little bit. Could have been a fake phone brick, had a homeboy hop out, make it look like something. Bam, fake blood in the ear, fake makeup. I don't think she could have just, she could have faked it.
That's the case, but that's a lot to do. For what are you garnering from that? When we know that lately, when a black woman comes out, she got about violence from a black man, she's going to end up suffering more than him by the public opinion. Maybe not by the law, but she's going to end up suffering the most. The thing with Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer came out, she ain't saying nothing publicly. The boyfriend went, instead of talking to her, calling her, emailing her, texting her how he felt, he decided it was necessary to come online when they had a podcast and they agreed that if something comes out public, that they are not to handle it public, that they handle it in-house. That was on a podcast between them two and Kiki's mother months prior to that incident. And her image ended up suffering more than him. And he was the one that created the whole thing. Because had he not said anything, it wouldn't have been what it was. So by her creating a fake brick and all of that, for what? What are you gaining?
$40,000. She gave $40,000 for it.
Okay, but she gained $40,000 because it was a real event. And to your point, if let's say that you're right. Let's say that it was fake, which it has been proven that it was real. Let's say it was fake. Nobody had the common sense or the care for people in your own community to even let me go fact check this first. Let me go it seems like a lot of niggas get an arousal from going against each other. It's an arousal because if I had an idea that it was fake, typically I'm just going to go Google it. I'm going to go find from credible sources that this was real or not. But that's just one point that I had to make, that the guy's talking about his wife and this, that, and the third. Like, you getting information from third parties, fourth, fifth, shade room, this, that, and the third, but it doesn't take you nothing but 5 minutes to go to Google and find reputable, credible sources to find the truth. That's all it took me was even though I saw evidence presented on some other YouTubers, but I still went and did my research. I didn't just even go with what they said. I went to do my research myself. The thing that Miss Grace said about the monkey, love you dearly, but just because you're fine with being called a monkey, and that's not a big deal to you, other people feel different. Other people feel differently because of its roots in racism. Those were the last words between monkey and nigger. Monkey is second to nigger. Those were the last words that many black people heard before they were murdered by white people. So to compare monkey to your parenting, that to me, she could say anything. Spice's kids doesn't live with her. Spice's kids live in Jamaica part-time in the States. She could have said that. She could have said, how dare you talk about my parenting? Your kids aren't even with you full-time. That could have been said. But there has been a history of Erica saying monkey, and it's only been said to black women only. Stevie J, even Scrappy and them, previous seasons before last, they talked about her son not being raised by her. She went off, but she didn't call them a monkey though. She only calls black women monkeys. She said that when her and Safari was online, and I guess the people in the comments were talking about her, she called them, which were women, y'all need to take care of y'all nappy-headed kids. That's what
Them
she
kids
said.
do be napping though. You know them kids be napping.
For a Hispanic person to say nappy-headed kids, that's not okay. For a black person to say it, look, totally fine with that. The same way
Okay.
it's fine with me a fat person to call another fat person fat.
So
But,
nappy is also off limits. So that's like the second N
well,
word. So there's two N words that are off limits.
nappy is another thing that white people created media, created posters, billboards, commercials, calling black people nappy-headed niggers or nappy-headed X, Y, and Z. It's not up there with nigger and monkey, but it's in the top 5, top 10. It's in that group. And we just cannot skip over historical facts. Now, if you're fine being called a nappy-headed monkey, by all means, I'm cool if you're cool with it. But for me and mine, don't do that. Don't do that. You have to be more clever with your words to find something else to say. That's just like if you get into an argument with a gay person and the first thing you say is you effing faggot. Maybe you felt that way before this argument. You don't have to resort to racist epithets or calling a gay person a faggot when you're upset with them. I mean, there's a slew of other things to say in an argument. So yes, things are off limits, and I just want this most of black people, because many black women, many black men feel like it's not a big deal. But I just want y'all to keep the same energy when white people, because you're saying that when you get really upset and you're arguing, then it's off limits. So I just want y'all to keep the same energy when a white person calls anybody black a nigger. I mean, I want niggas to keep the same energy. When a black man is killed by the cops, I want y'all to keep the same energy when they dig up their past and their criminal records and whatnot. Keep the same energy, because I know I am. I don't march for you niggas anymore. I don't do none of that stuff anymore because I see how it goes. When it's for you, it's okay. When it's for someone like me, it's not okay. So, yeah, those are my feelings about that. Regarding the looting, in the beginning, looting was not even a negative thing. In the beginning, it was loot, L-U-T. And that was like a Hindi term. And for like the people in Americas, it was first used like in the 1700s, I believe. And then as it got into the mid-19th century, it turned from loot to looting, L-O-O-T. And some of the first activities of this was with the Boston Tea Party, the Tea Act, when they American protesters, they climbed on these ships, on the British ships, and they dumped, I believe it was like $1 million worth of tea into the harbor. It was like 40-something tons of tea that they dumped in protest. So I think by like the 1820s or so, newspapers began to call it like looting, Looting. But in the beginning, the looting and, throughout history, looting was something that was done primarily by white people. By white people. That gets skipped over. Now, I'm not making an excuse because I'm going to handle that part, the other part. But the founding fathers looted. They looted. They looted what was not theirs. In the beginning, they looted when they arrived. Looted. They also looted cargo from their beef with England. They looted their cargo ships of anything that was of value. If you get to the anti-black attacks, which I do not call them race riots, because race riots would mean that we're fighting against each other. Those were anti-black attacks when white people came into black people's neighborhoods to burn and beat them up, and the dogs were sicked on them and X, Y, and Z. But it's labeled as race attacks. But if you talk about the Tulsa massacre, not riot, but massacre, before the white people bombed and burned their houses down and killed those people, they went in their homes and they saw their grand pianos and their fur coats. And over there on their side of the tracks, they ain't had no fur coats and stuff. Niggas was jealous. You come into a black town that's thriving, they got hospitals and bus systems and doctor hospitals and furniture stores and all that, and these niggas got fur coats and grand pianos? What? They looted that stuff first before they killed and burned their homes down. The same in Raleigh. Then you get into the hot summer, 1967, with Detroit, Newark, Jersey, and other places where black people were rioting against racism. That was kind of the earliest form of black people looting for a cause. There was looting in California when what's the black guy name? Rodney King. Even before that, there was looting, but it was all based on racism. Now, I can understand it, and I can't understand that you will loot your own neighborhoods. But I can understand that those businesses represent the system in some way. But in 2005, when Hurricane Katrina came and other hurricanes that happened in Florida, looting happened because niggas needed food and clothing and diapers. So that I can understand. I mean, they got to get food, water, diapers, clothing. They have to get those essentials. So I can understand looting, because that's what's going to happen if martial law, whatever happens, and the world goes crazy. That's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to be looting. And it wasn't just black people either. It was white and everyone in between. Now, when we get into white people looting, which was already stated that that's how they came into America, looting, and all throughout the 1800s, early 1900s, even into the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, looting and burning black people's houses. But then when you get into the white people looting because of stupid reasons, like winning or losing, you get into the beat riot in 1974 Cleveland. You get into the Detroit World Series riot in 1980. You get into the Phillies World Series, they won 1980 and 2008. Still looted, burned, bonfires. Oh, I mean, and it just goes on and on. Denver 2014 from their football team losing. San Francisco 2012 baseball team won. Vancouver 2011 the hockey team lost. New Hampshire 2014 because of pumpkins. Pumpkins.
Yeah, they'll do that to you.
Tennessee, huh?
The pumpkins will do that to you.
Yeah, pumpkins. They rioted and looted because of pumpkins. In Tennessee, because their favorite coach was no longer coaching the football team. Because the coach wasn't coaching anymore in 2010. In Pennsylvania, 2011, because someone lost their job. A man lost his job because he ignored sexual abuse of children. Lost his job. They looted, rioted. Kentucky 2012 because baseball team won. 2004 in Boston because the baseball team won. One woman was actually killed by the police. But not only in 2004 with Boston, it was 2007 and 2013. Chicago 1991, 92, 93 because of Bulls fans. Win or lose. Denver 96, 98, 99, 2001. 1998 in Denver because of their first Super Bowl victory. West Virginia 2014 because the football team won unexpectedly. So, and this is just a little that I researched. This isn't even the whole shebang. And so, but we don't discuss that, especially in the Black community. That's not discussed, especially in mainstream media. That's not discussed. It is not looked at as, ugh, like when niggas do it. It's not looked at as, ugh. Even when the Black Lives Matter protest was going on, white people were looting. White people was looting all on Rodeo Drive, California. But the narrative was still Black people. So, but even with all that being said, the Black people who loot now, for the most part, are just doing it just because. It's not because of cause. It's not because, of the system. It's not because they're fighting back. It's not because they're going to do something about, racism or what they believe to be police brutality. It's not because of that. It's because they just want an opportunity to steal and to maybe resell it online or keep it for themselves. Those kids don't care about no police, no brutality, no corrupt system. They don't care about that. Those niggas just wanted to steal.
That's true.
But I'm in full disagreement with what they're doing. 1,000%. I'm in full disagreement with how Black people have been looting lately. But the full picture needs to be discussed as well. Because the full picture is literally rarely to none discussed. And if you actually look at history, throughout history, even if you don't want to even dig back into the early 1900s, nigga, you could start from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, and count all the way up to 2023, and let's see who's looted the most. White people or Black people. And historically speaking, that's white people. White people. So that's all I have to say. I just don't like it when it's like a one-sided discussion. And yes, we can focus on Black issues without bringing up issues with other races. I'm okay with that as well. But these discussions never talk about the full picture. They never talk about the full picture, and that's what hurts my nerves.
And I can understand that, and I can see your feelings on that. But kind of going down the timeline of the things that you mentioned yourself about the various riots throughout history.
Hmm.
I would say that those riots, whether or looting or so, whether good or bad, however you want
Including
to
for
perceive it,
all.
but they actually looted in a beneficial way. So it may have been a cultural advantage, it may have been whatever. And again, depending on what side you're on, you're going to look at it one way or the other. We're not talking about who's right and who's wrong, but we're talking about the outcomes, right? So just like you said, I understand having the
Cultural.
conversation. Huh?
What's the cultural advantage that they benefited?
So I'm saying, so if you said that there was the race riots in Tulsa, right? Well, culturally, collectively, the white people came in and they took advantage of it and they benefited. When we go, or they moved a something that was not favorable to them and relocated, or there was some type of change, whether good or bad, after the outcome. We're just running recklessly into weirdness, even not weird. There, the modern black looter just running recklessly in the stores, like you said, trying to gain something just to try to sell something online. So it's, and I'm not saying the historic looting was good, but I'm talking about the purpose, right? Again, I could almost see it if there was a real legitimate backing to it, right? People are emotional. Like it would I wouldn't say it would be justifiable, but it would be understandable. I think I can understand why these niggas out here acting ignorant, but it's not that anymore. Like I said, it's just motherfuckers running rampant. And now it's to the point where it's bigger than just some political point. It has economic ramifications. And again, the people who are suffering, like you mentioned, it's the people in their own neighborhood. So it's doing double damage because now, again, like I say, the businesses are lost, the jobs are lost. And again, it's going to be harder for the older folks. It's going to be harder for, younger folks who are trying to get a job, to get something nearby. So again, to me, it's just, I don't understand the detriment to their own community, to our own communities versus other races or other historic events that you mentioned where, okay, well, if we're going to go loot, if we're going to go do something, we're going to take resources from uh, another group and bring it back, not, hey, we're angry. Let's just cause a bunch of
But
collateral
no, no.
damage in our own neighborhoods.
Sorry to cut you off,
Mhm.
but if you're going to talk about modern, then you, you because the way you're shaping it, I don't like it too much because you're shaping it based on you comparing modern looting to the 1920s and the 40s looting, and you're skipping over the looting from the 1970s. You're skipping over that in the 1990s and the 2000s and the 2010s that I just mentioned because of football games
Well,
and
there's a
baseball
difference
games.
between rioting and looting. So that's where I'm separating the line. That's why I switched up earlier. There's riots after these games. And to me, a riot is primarily someone going out and creating a lot of destruction and damage and chaos. To me, looting is groups of people primarily going out for some type of resource or some type of gain. Uh, materially, not just to go out and fuck shit up recklessly. So that's why I mentioned the looting more specifically than the rioting. I can't disagree with you too much. Rioting is rioting. There's really no general sense to it. But to me, looting
But
is different.
those that I mentioned that I went through, they all included looting,
I
all
mean,
of them.
and I would agree. I think, but I mean, it's probably more of a smaller segment of the whole situation compared to situations like this, where everybody went straight to go. It wasn't rioting. The people were just running in the stores. So it was an organized robbery, if you will. You know what I mean?
But
I think there's
what's
a difference.
what's the difference between after it's all said and done? They still looted. Whether they waited to loot after they burnt a couple cars down and then they looted, or they just went straight to it. What's the difference? They still looted.
I mean, it's where the looting lies on the itinerary. You know,
Oh my God. Semantics. Oh my gosh.
it matters. Is looting the priority? Is this the primary outcome? We're going to go loot and then we're going to go shoot? Or are we going to go shoot and then after, we And we got rid of everything. We go do a little loot on the side.
Lord, honcho. Typical honcho. Go ahead with your semantics.
I'm just saying, right? And I get it. And again, but my deal is this. Now, like I say, I often speak of. I've said it 1,000 times, and you kind of referred to it yourself. When I speak on black people, I speak on black people, right? I can't impact what my white counterparts are doing. I try. They don't want to hear from me. But my deal is, and what they do doesn't impact me. What they do doesn't have any outcome on what goes on in my life for the most part. But when you look and you see, especially young black men and women, youth going down this path, going down this, and these are the people who look like you and I, naturally, you're going to have more of an inclination to be concerned with the things that are going on in that community. I'm not. I can't be concerned. Well, not that I can't be concerned, but um, it's not my. I won't say it's not my place. I'll talk about everybody. But like I say, I'm going to talk about black folks because that's the black. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Like, I'm not concerned with what white people are doing, right? Because it's not a thing. If white people evaporated today, niggas are still in the same condition they're in, right? So it's about, to me, it's more about the betterment of our own behaviors, the improvement of the actions and things that we do and how we move, more so than white people should do this or white people are evil or white people have done this, all this shit to us. Like, it doesn't matter because I understand there are things linger, right? I understand that there is weight to stuff, but, and then again, I move differently from people. But when you're holding on to all that stuff, you're missing out on the now, and that's why black folks are falling behind because we're too busy worried and holding on to the trauma of the past. Like I mentioned earlier, motherfuckers don't know what 9/11 is now. Young kids, young youth don't know what 9/11 is now. That happened about 20 years ago, but they know every damn detail of everything that's happened, any kind of racial conflict, all the slavery, everything that's ever happened. They know all that. Why? Because that's embedded to them. But imagine we took the time to embed valuable knowledge into the youth as much as we do. Everything is racist, everything is prejudice, everything is that. We as black folks instill that into the minds of our own children, right? And then they start to respond to the world that way. And when you respond to the world that way, guess what? The world will give you what you ask for. And so you're going to get the things that you put out there. And so I know it's kind of deviating from my original point, but that's why I don't concern myself with things other than, you know, too much. There's too much going on with black folks. We can't be worried about what white people do, right? If they have a good story to talk
Oh
about,
yeah.
we'll talk about it at the end. But I don't think we need to be as concerned as we are with white. We're when it comes to the black issues. It's like it's 92% what white people are doing, 8%. Let's try to fix the black community. We got our priorities all fucked up. Like, and that's why I don't be concerned with it because there's enough other people who are concerned with it.
Well, I can respect your opinion on that. I agree with some points. But just me differently, I just believe in knowing the full picture. I mean, as I said, I disagree with the looting, modern looting. I disagree with that. But it also helps me to gauge a wide understanding and not just, because when we talk about just the black people looting, like it's as if like we say, oh, they're just acting like monkeys, they're just acting like a bunch of animals, and we have so much vitriol. But that same energy isn't happening when our jobs are lost, when the stores that we work at is broken into and stolen since the 90s throughout the 2000s and 10s when white people do it. So if we're losing our jobs when black people do it, we're losing our jobs when white people did it as well. So I'm not playing blame game, but my take is always keep the same energy across the board. That's just how I feel about it. And I do feel as though that kids need to know as much information as they can hold, not just partial about some aspects of slavery, but they need to know everything. Everything, even before then. They need to know everything that happened afterwards
How do you
throughout
feel
U.S.
that
history.
that benefits a child right now in 2023, a child who was born in 2023 and going forward into the future? How do you feel that embedding them with every gruesome, extreme, and informative detail about slavery is going to benefit them in their modern life?
But you're taking part of what I said. I said that they need to know everything.
I agree, but
Every,
I'm inquiring as to
every
what part of slavery though is beneficial.
to me, every part of it is. I mean, that's just like why why for Jews to know about everything about what happened to them? To me, that makes no sense. Because the more information that you gain, it brings about more understanding. It brings about more understanding of the now. I mean, this is a fact that when you know your past, you can understand your present, understand it. That will help you navigate life in a more successful way. And you can kind of predict the future. They all go hand in hand. You can't just not know about the past and then move in the present like you just are oblivious to the past.
And I agree
Like
with you.
you
I agree with you
you
100
can't
percent
just
about
say 9/11 but they know about every which they need to know the whole story. When you read a book, you need to know the whole book, not just parts of it. So that's just where I am. Learning helps you understand, and that understanding helps you to move in a more successful way
it.
that
So
benefits you.
so do you think, I mean, I mean, we know quite a bit about slavery, our past, our history. You say know your history, right? And you feel like that the youth of the future should know it. But I feel like we know a good bit. We have um, thoroughly examined it. We get all the movies in Hollywood. We have plenty of books. We have plenty of our own who prey on our our trauma porn addiction as Black folks and continue to feed it to us. But do you think that we're really taking that information and making better futures for ourselves as in mass?
No, because of what we discussed on previous phone calls, because of the state of the mind of Black people, they're not able to process that information in a helpful way to help them go forward. Because of the virus in the mind, no, they're not going anywhere. But it's not because of being indoctrinated with slavery only. It's not because of that by itself. It doesn't matter what you do or how you do it with many Black people because of the virus. So you can't just attribute it to just slavery, of knowing about slavery in itself. Because if you ask typical, regular Black people don't even know the logistics of slavery. They only know the surface level portion of it. Me and my, what is this nigga from? Where Jim Jones killed his people. Where is that? Well, Jim Jones killed the Black people. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know about it.
I forgot. But anyway, he's from over there. He just moved here like 5-6 years ago. And he said that Black people don't know about the logistics of slavery. And I agree with him. Black people really don't. They know the surface level portion of it. They don't know the deep logistics of it. And if you want to be factual, the collective of Black people now, as of what, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, have collectively said we're tired of slavery movies. We're tired of seeing us at the bottom. Like, that's been a collective agreement.
I've been
across
on
the
that.
board. That
Been on that for a long
huh?
time. I don't watch BET. I don't watch slavery. I don't watch shit that portrays niggas in an ignorant light. Like, and so, it is too much of that. And we love to see ourselves in those positions. Um, and that's what I'm saying. So that's why I say like the whole slavery thing is, it can be overblown, because what you have now is, I understand knowing your history, but what you have now is a bunch of people who were never in chain, who were never cuffed, motherfuckers ain't never even been arrested, who feel like there's this invisible overlord with this foot on the back of their fucking neck standing on them, because they went and heard about how bad their ancestors were treated, and they watched these movies and they relive this shit. And now they've installed this mental trauma operating system in their mind, and they live like this, and they've never been, and they don't realize why. Is because they continue to, well, I gotta know my history, so I need to see this new slave movies instead of going to get the real history, which is probably far worse. But they visualize, they live, and when the mind, it's hard for the mind to process, perceiving a visual trauma versus actually reliving it. When you remember it over and over, the people who watched the George Floyd shit thousands and thousands of times, they felt like George Floyd died 1,000 times, even though it was one event. But we kept watching it over and over. People keep doing these things over and over. They do it to themselves. So that's personally why I feel like you should know it. But what does a person benefit having a detailed knowledge of the logistics of the slave trade right now? I'm not, maybe it has something to do with human trafficking, but if I'm not a human trafficking agent or something like, it's not going to benefit me. It's going to make me, it's going to be more trauma than benefit, is how I feel. Because you're going to be thinking now, oh, well, imagine the bodies that were placed in these containers or in these locations, how they were cramped, how they didn't have food. Imagine the disease, the smell, all these things, right? And you're going to mentally relive this stuff that you've never went through. And so now you're placing that mental trauma upon yourself. So that's why I personally feel like, with all the people already needing therapy and needing help and everything else, I don't think that's good for the overwhelming majority of Black people, because they already got modern day issues that may have stemmed from that, but not slavery itself. And that's why I feel like it's an issue.
Okay. Well, we could agree to disagree on that, because I definitely disagree mostly
Okay.
on stance. As we go into the Jewish neighborhood, the only thing that they've had different from us is the reconciliation, and they've actually done the work to move on, but it's still taught to their children early. They still live on high alert, which is why if you say anything, they labeling it anti-Semitic. They're on high alert, but especially here in New York, high alert. And they feed that to their children, yet they prosper because they've had reconciliation within themselves, and they, have gained power and continue to keep that power by any means necessary. So I do agree, if you're in a state of zombification, that maybe would not help, because you would live in a victim mentality, because most Black people do have a victim mentality. But if you're talking about someone who does not have that virus within them anymore, or haven't had it ever in life, that information could be beneficial to them. The same way gruesome stuff that's never happened to anybody else in any other culture, they still keep that within their group and keep that going, and they never forget. Which is 9/11, never forget. Like, these things are never forgotten, never not discussed in their group. The only difference is with us is because we haven't had the reconciliation. The only difference.
9/11 was in our lifetime.
Huh?
I said 9/11 was in our lifetime.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't a good reason. But okay, I can give you that.
No,
But
go ahead, I'm sorry.
but
lifetime, people that was in the Jim Crow era, my grandma, who's 78 years old, in her lifetime, she's experienced that era of the burning crosses in her yard in deep North Carolina. I just researched that my hometown, me and my grandma was on the phone, and I did some research to find out that my town itself was the last victory of the Civil War, battle. In my town, Plymouth, North Carolina. Anyone might want to research that. That was the last battle, which is why you remember I told you a while ago, in my town they hold Civil War reenactments. Those people weren't here during Civil War. But they still actually hold reenactments where they take a weekend and they call it the Civil War weekend. And they go to the historical museum in my town, take the actual costumes from the Civil War, wear them, make their little teepees, camp outside. They shoot the guns, they shoot the cannons in the river every year.
Well, they're just a bunch of LARPers, just like any other LARPer.
What's that mean?
A LARPer, LARP, live action role play. Just like the weirdos you see out who dress in the little cloths and hood, and they think they're Star Wars characters. It's like people will go in the parks and they'll do this stuff. Like they'll go act like they're raiding castles or whatever, and they'll have these live action role play battles. I think it's all weird. So I mean, I agree with you. I think it's weirdo shit. But I got certain views on tradition and things. So I think a lot of people are weird for following certain traditions and stuff like that. But I mean, to each their own. You know, you want to honor your history. That's what you want to call it. That's cool. Me personally, I'm not gonna dress up like no weird shit like that.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, like I said, I respect your difference of opinion. I have mine. Like I said, I personally believe me knowing a lot of what I research that helps me to understand myself, my family, society, other races. It helps me to more understand, and I personally love understanding. I love knowing things. I love knowing, and it really does help me in life. But you know, that is what that is. But to end, I am against modern day looting by any group of people, unless there's a catastrophic event where there is no choice that people will need their essentials.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look, here's my thing, and people can feel how they want to feel about that. If it comes down to, you know, they're not being resourced, they're not being, say something is the powers out there, and that's the only option, and I'm gonna eat. I'm not gonna starve. If I have a family, I'm not gonna let them starve. Like your natural instinct to survive will take over. But like you said, situations like this, you know, not so much. But thank you, Mr. Dan,
Right,
man.
yeah.
I appreciate the love.
Huh?
No, so shout out to Dan the man. Yeah. Send a donation into the Dan, so I'm sending him some love.
Oh, good for Dan the man, the clan. But yeah, that's all I have to say. You have any more questions for me?
No, it's about that time, so I'm going to inquire if you are going to be in the Discord. You know, we can continue this conversation. If not, you know, then we can always continue it another day. But we can definitely, you know, because like you say, we agree to disagree, but we can definitely continue this conversation some other time if you'd like. So let me know.
Nigga, we never continue a conversation that we've had in the show.
That's Broderick's fault. You
Never.
know, it's Broderick's fault. I attempt to. And if something goes wrong, I blame Broderick, and that's how it works. So if we haven't ever been able to continue the conversation, blame Broderick.
Don't blame my bro, Broderick. He ain't do nothing to nobody.
Broderick ain't nobody, bro. Broderick is not to be trusted by anybody, including himself.
Not Pastor Broderick. Big Pastor Reverend Earl Sharpton Broderick II.
Oh, let me drop that. Oh, matter of fact, the link's been pinned the whole time to the Discord, so no excuses. It should have been pinned to the top of the chat. So for everybody who's asking, I have not changed anything else. Yeah. So No excuses. If y'all want to be in the Discord, link at the top of the chat. I don't know how many uses you got left. I only put like 10 because I don't be wanting like a whole bunch of people coming in at the end at once. So y'all better use it before you lose it. Okay. All right.
Can I just say, some
So,
guy named Kenneth who stole my name.
what's up?
That's why I hate talking to people and they just run with pieces of anything.
Talking about young
If
kid?
I don't know who young or old, I don't know how old this dude is. He's talking about my ancestors didn't die for me to cry about slavery on YouTube in 2019, 1107. By all means, have I been crying talking to you about this?
I wouldn't call it crying.
I believe that I've been telling the full story of what's happened, and I also put blame on Black people for modding looting. Like I've said that, I don't know how many times I've said that I'm in total disagreement of it. But nonetheless, even with me saying that, it's still being ran with I'm crying. So no, it is. I understand people. It's like a disconnect there. That is what that is. But I won't hold you any longer. Thank you for having me, my brother. And I'll highlight you in the court disc.
All right, Mr. Ken, as always, I appreciate the conversation and thank you for calling in this evening.
Thank you, my bro.
Shout out to Mr. Ken. And again, shout out to Dan, the motherfucking man with the plan. I appreciate the love, my brother. Let me see. So y'all know how we do about this time. Y'all know we slide into the Discord. The link is at the top of the thing. Get up in that bitch. Be 22 deep. Hit that like button if you ain't hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody who called. We have had some very interesting calls the last few days. So shout out to all of you. But let's get in there. We'll talk about what happened in Tuby Tuesday. If you missed it, we'll be in there. And I think the next movie for the next Tuby Tuesday has already been picked out by Broderick. But if you want to put your vote in there, put your vote in there. Make sure you're following all the proper social medias at Honcho HTX, Instagram, Twitter, Honcho HTX on TikTok. I'll be doing TikTok dances and shit. Don't believe that shit. But I will one day. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know, man. I'm half-ass tired. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie. In the Discord, people already in the Discord. Like, why we still there? You don't know what I'm doing. I'm at this point where I'm just saying stuff. Y'all know what happens. Like, this is the part where I just randomly cut it off. I'm just saying a bunch of words to keep you distracted while I'm looking for the buttons to exit everything out. So just might as well just leave now. Go to Discord. The link is up there. Hit the thing. If you ain't in there, do what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? The gaming streams, I might. I might. I might. So yeah, we're definitely I told you I want to do the horror thing. I want to start playing because I like it's a bunch of horror games I play. It's like a bunch of Resident Evils, even though I heard they acting like some hoes in their Resident Evil 4. Like I want to play a bunch of horror games and stream those because I think that might be very funny. Because I ain't gonna lie, there's been a couple times when little jump scares and caught me like a little bit. So I was like, I wasn't prepared for that. I was startled. How dare you? You can't startle a grown man like that. But yeah, so y'all already know what it is. Like I said, man, I'm like hit the Discord. Y'all already know what's happening. It's already is. You know what I'm saying? You know that's how you like it, Michelle. You know